dollars data center equipment highlight just how valuable the metal has become. So, who bet? This meeting is being recorded.
Good afternoon, Mr. Shia.
Hi, good afternoon.
So it is around 12:40 in India, so we should be good to start in next 15-20 minutes. Uh, Till then, if you want to take a break and have a cup of coffee or anything, you can do that. We'll start sharp and in 20 minutes.
Yes, I just came back from the club,
Okay,
drank a lot. Anyway, yes, I got wrong. I was calculating the Indian time to Hong Kong time 2.5 hours. But then
okay,
now I'm in Sydney. I
okay.
was so silly.
Yeah,
Ah,
I got to know that you had an important meeting at Australia yesterday, I guess. So you were in
y-
Australia.
yes, we are actually I have been here for from 1st July, so a week already. So a great meetings, great. We're hang out with friends.
Great, sir. So
Hmm.
yesterday, Miss
Yeah.
Neha also joined in one of the panel. And
Yeah.
the response we received for that panel discussion was really amazing. A lot of people appreciated that panel discussion. And she
Okay.
has also been able to add a lot of value to it, especially with
Okay.
regard to the domestic market in India.
Hmm. I
Just
believe you are developing something new for the we see conferencing. Is the conference a face-to-face conference or online conference will make some difference? And
uh,
maybe big difference.
it's a big difference. So one of the things that we are able to do in this virtual conference is that we are also enabled the networking opportunity for all the attendees. They can network with each other, just like you do in
Yeah.
physical conference. And
Yeah.
just to let you know about your, co-panelists in this session. So I'm sure you must be aware about Bigment as well.
Pigment.
Yeah.
What is pigment?
So Bigment is one of the price assessment agency based in India, and basically they have been the marketing partner.
Okay, pigment. Okay, pigment. Yes, right. Yes, we use pigment.
Yes. So Christy is basically from Bigment only. So there's a sister concern of Bigment known as Questro. Um,
Okay, Christy.
yeah.
Okay,
So she's
okay.
there,
I
and
think I know him.
yes, you may be knowing her. She usually attend all the Papa conferences as well.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. He's the CEO of pigment.
No, no, she's not the CEO of Pigment. She is the senior analyst.
Okay, okay,
CEO is Mr. Dhruv Goyal. He was unfortunately traveling today. Uh,
okay.
and I was also fortunate enough to have met you during couple of IPAPA conference. I was in Pigment from 2018 to 2025. So
2018, 2025. Oh, that's many years. Yes.
yes, so in Goa, last time at the Goa conference we met.
Yeah,
And then I started my own company, but fortunately, Bigment is also a knowledge partner in this particular event and maybe for
yeah.
all our future events as well.
Okay, okay, great. So we are metal and mining. Let me see. That company names metals and mining, or that metals and mining is a content.
So the company name is my company name is Markintel. So this event we have launched. It's known as World Metal and Mining Summit, and we have collaborated with Steel Network, Steel Orbis, as well as Bigment for different region.
Okay.
And so the idea was to start a platform wherein physical conferences do take place
Yeah,
globally across many places, but then there are a lot of people who are even within the same organization. It is not that affordable for the organization to send multiple people or different people to different conferences. So 70-80% of the crowd remains the same across all the
yeah,
conferences. So
yeah,
we
yeah,
wanted to create a platform where it becomes economical for the organization to allow their other employees as well to attend and take a benefit of networking as well as knowledge sharing
yeah,
platform. So with that objective,
yeah.
we launched World Metal and Mining Summit. This is currently an India edition. Then we'll be
Okay.
launching a UAE edition soon. Like we'll be revealing it day after tomorrow, and most likely in October we'll be launching a UAE edition, followed by
Yeah,
China
okay.
edition as well. So after the
Okay.
week, probably February, March, somewhere around that time would be a China edition as well.
Okay, it's great. Actually, yes, we found a difficulty to attend let me see, the face-to-face meetings.
Yes,
Yeah, actually, even my daughter questioned me, why do you attend the face-to-face meetings? You can get things done online very efficiently.
correct.
Yes, we are, but of course, she's what she said to me is, well, you can do it face to face. Uh, okay, for some people, yes, face to face meeting, eye touching, and even handshaking, or even dinner together, right? That passionate you, that provide you passion, and you can and friendship. But actually, online meeting can benefit more or
Correct.
very differently.
So what I believe, sir, it should be a mix of both. I think, like you said, sir, some of the meeting are critical and important. You have to have a physical presence in that meeting.
Yeah,
But if
yeah,
you can have, 20-30% meeting wherein you can physically visit that conference and attend, and remaining, 60-70% meeting, if you are able to meet your objective, connect with the people even online as well. Because apart from conferences, whenever we do a meeting, we usually do a virtual meeting first only. So it is
yeah,
rapidly
yeah, yeah.
emerging to be a good medium, and we wanted to take a leverage of this medium as well. Uh,
Yes, yes. Actually, online meeting not started from today. It has been organized by many companies. But you see, is not too successful economically to the conference organizers and to the people attended. That might be a logic behind. So what's wrong with it? It should be great, right?
yes, sir.
So maybe is need a different organization. So different preparation.
Correct, correct. I agree, sir. And in fact, I'll be honest with you, when we started this conference, planning for this conference, we also were facing a lot of resistance from the
Yeah,
market. They were
yeah,
not willing to. So, like you said, financially it was becoming difficult. But fortunately, right now, I'll not say that. So, this conference, we have been able to do good numbers
mm.
across the delegates and everything else as well.
Yeah,
And probably this is for the first time it is taking place in India, so acceptability is there. Apart from that, sir, we have been receiving a lot of good feedback also from all our sponsors as well. Uh,
yeah.
so hoping to bring about that change, at least in India. At least I can try from India. Then UAE and China is definitely there in my mind, and I'll definitely seek your guidance and support in China as well, sir.
Where?
China conference, the China edition that
China conference. Okay, China conference.
we would like
China
to.
conference is a little bit difficult because the language might be an issue for the key managers.
Correct. Sir, we have got in touch with MySteel, and
Yeah,
most likely MySteel will be partnering with us for that conference. So with
Mm.
objective only, we had to, so again, obviously, MySteel is a very big name in China.
Yeah.
No doubt in that. So
Yeah.
MySteel and that language barrier because of MySteel, they'll be able to control the language barrier as well.
Yeah.
We're working on a platform which can directly do the live translation as well for the attendees, even if the
Yeah.
session is taking place in Chinese.
Yeah.
Participant must be able to, listen to the entire conference in English or their chosen language as well. So
Okay.
working on that part as well. But we would definitely like to have you as a special guest, sir, over there, not just as a panelist, but as a guest of honor.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Yes, you see, yes, you see, we're in the business for many years, so we want to do something where in a different way. Traditionally, yes, you see, it was good. I don't say this is not good. It was good. But you see, now is the digital world. So especially the new generation, the we are join the different business.
Yes.
So they may need the different things to do it in different way.
Correct, sir. Even in India, also, so steel companies is also trying to shift toward the digital procurement and digital marketplace, which was the
Yeah,
case
yeah.
5, 6 years ago. Post
Mm,
COVID, I think a lot of things have started evolving in the steel sector as well. But still, it
mm,
is heavily driven by the negotiation, the transaction that take place in the steel sector. So, uh, still need some more time for the digitalization to catch up in the steel sector. But like you
mm.
said, the younger generation, the newer generation, they are pretty active and comfortable with the digital mode. So maybe 5 or 6 years down the line, I think digitalization will definitely catch up in the steel sector as well.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I think yeah, one of the issue I think might be there are too many online meeting softwares. So where for some of them is not so easy to get.
Correct.
Or yes, even though you see the Teams, the Zoom or the Teams or the whatever the others, we have used many times, but once you have problem, it's hard to figure out. Where
Correct.
I mean, I catch up, even though I'm aging, but I catch up the technology. But even so, where you see today, I feel what's wrong already. The time is there, but it's asked me to wait. Uh, but actually, I calculate the wrong time zone. So, but you need to get an answer, right?
Correct. So that is there. In fact, when we started planning for this conference, we originally had Zoho backstage, Zoho as one of our platform. But on
Yeah,
one day before the event, when we were trying to figure out, especially from the speaker point of view, if the speaker is even 50% technically sound, even half of it. So we were facing a lot of difficulties, to understand how to log in as a speaker and how to join as a panelist, how to share the screen. So that is
yeah,
when we decided at the last moment that the best way to go about it is, so although we have the Zoho platform, we'll integrate Zoom for the webinar into that platform. Because
oh,
Zoom,
yeah,
Google Meet, and like you mentioned, Team, all these three are comparatively easy to manage.
okay,
But last moment, any technical glitch may come in. Technology is still
yeah,
it's
yeah,
in technology, so
yes, right. Yeah, but I think the problem might be where aging entrepreneurs may have more problem than the young kids.
so in my experience, people like you and all the businessmen that we have met, yesterday also Lloyd chairman from India was also there,
Yeah, yeah,
and a couple of other business people from Belgium, and all those were above 60. But
okay,
comparatively, what I understand, sir, the willingness to learn in that age group, like you're also in that age group, is quite more. And once you have a passion and when you really want to do it, I think for me, I've never. I mean, during this entire conference, I never had a problem with the aging people.
okay,
Couple of
okay,
young generation, people were having a problem, technical issues. But then again,
okay.
it might be due to something else. But for me, I found out that the aging people are exceptionally comfortable with this. At
Yeah,
least in my experience in last 3 days. Sir.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So yes, is need a need improvement.
And
From
secondly, sir, punctuality. In your age group, the time punctuality is the punctuality is quite superior. So we, like you also joined earlier, most of the cases we have to chase the panelists just 2 minutes before, when we realize that they haven't even joined. So it
Yeah.
becomes a problem. But again, that's within age, you become more sincere, you become more punctual, and you started valuing, because your time is also critical. So you started valuing the time of everyone.
Yeah, for us, we are actually traveling. Traveling is a issue. Once we travel, yes, we it's hard to catch up sometimes. Especially you never know what may happen. You see, this time we drove all the way from Melbourne to Sydney, but it takes about 8 hours and 30 minutes.
Mhm.
But after 1.5 hour, the tire of the car broken. So we had to call the insurance and to call, let me see, the company to tow the car to a station and fix it. And you see here, Sunday people don't work, so you have
Correct.
to wait. And Monday they start to work very slowly. It's not like India and China, people work very hard, but
Yes.
here they just don't work.
I agree, sir.
So it made us difficulty. I missed some meetings. We have postponed something later. So traveling actually matters. Will affect the meetings. Okay, we have some people. We see the Hash, Agarwal, and
Christy.
Mathai, right? Christy Mathai?
Christy, right, sir.
Christy, hi. Hey, how are you?
I'm
Nice to
great.
see you
How are
again.
you? I'm great.
Yes,
How are you?
yes, great. Yes, great travel in Australia.
So you're
Nice.
coming to India as
Mm.
well, I think, for a Papa
Yes,
conference.
September.
September.
September. Yes. We always be the sponsor of
Correct.
either platinum or gold. Yeah, because India I love Indian business, and the Indian business shares a big portion of our business.
Correct, sir. So I'll definitely meet you this time as well. I'll be there at Goa.
Mm, yeah. Thank you. Yes, we meet Goa. Mm. And
So
some people's wedding had been set up, so I'm going to the meeting, conference, and going to the wedding event.
yes, sir.
Okay.
So Christy, like I told you earlier, also before Christy joined, she represents a company called Questro, which is a part of, which is a subsidiary company of Pigment itself. So Pigment is primarily into market research and consulting. Questro is more into consulting and market research, deeper into the consulting, I would say, not just the
Okay.
price assessment, which is taken care by Pigment. Mr. Harsh
Okay.
Agarwal, he'll be the moderator for the session. He is working with a company called Metals Buy. He is looking after the procurement of, heading the entire procurement of manganese ore, not just from the Indian market, domestic market, but also from the overseas market as well. And he has also worked with some of the leading brands in the Indian leading steel companies as well earlier. So I'll we'll wait for a couple of more minutes. 12:58. I'll start with an official introduction and context setting in next couple of minutes. Let's see.
Okay.
I
Right.
think the others will also join. And
Yeah. Yeah. Yes, we are. The other topic about Indian manganese ore. That is the information I want to get. I'm eager to hear about that.
great. So I think both of
That
them.
is very valuable. You say we're in the manganese ore, right?
So Harsh has been deeply involved in trading of manganese ore on a day-to-day basis. So I'm sure
Ah,
he'll be able to add a lot of value. And I expect, even after this summit gets over, there might be some definitely discussion between Million Link and Metal Bike can take place. They do procure a lot of
mm,
manganese ore, and they're looking to source it from the global market as well.
mm. Okay, great.
So let's wait for a couple of more minutes. 12:59. We'll start in next 2 minutes.
Okay. So you said for this session, you how many how many meetings you the company organized? Questraw.
Questro, my company is
Questraw.
Markintel. My company name is Markintel. Uh,
Marketing.
yeah. So the logos, first logo on this side.
Or Marketinter.
Yeah.
Marketinter, right?
Correct.
Market internet market
Yeah.
inter.
It is combination of. It is made from those two words, Market Intel, and I work.
Okay. Okay.
And Questro represent Questro. They are our knowledge partner. They are subsidiary, like I said, of Bigman. And
Okay.
so what I'll do, sir, I'll quickly start with the context setting since it is already 1 p.m. and people have joined. A lot of other people will also join in the meanwhile.
Hmm.
So again, welcome back, everyone. After the last session, we had a global discussion, the global steel session in the morning today with our panelists from Belgium, Egypt, and China. Moving on to the current session, we'll be discussing about the global manganese ore market outlook. Now, just to set a context, manganese ore is one of the most critical raw material for the global steel industry, serving as the backbone of ferroalloy production and contributing significantly to steel quality and performance. As global demand continue to evolve, the manganese ore market is witnessing dynamic changes driven by supply-demand fundamentals, international trade, geopolitical development, and tension, of course, freight cost, and shifting procurement strategy. For steel manufacturer, ferroalloy producer, traders, and procurement professionals, understanding these market trends has become more important than ever before. Today's discussion aims to provide the valuable insight into the current global scenario and the opportunities that lies ahead. Joining us today are three distinguished industry experts. Our first panelist is Mr. Gang Xia. He's the CEO of Billion Link Investment Limited from China. With decades of experience in the international metal and mining industry, Mr. Shia is widely respected for his expertise in global commodity trading, raw material sourcing, and international supply chains. Under his leadership, Millennium has built a strong global presence connecting buyers and suppliers across multiple continents. We're delighted to have him share his global perspective on the manganese ore market. He has been quite a regular speaker and sponsor and visiting India quite frequently for the IPAPA conferences almost every year. Our second panelist in this session is Ms. Christy Mathai. She is a consultant at Questro. Ms. Mathai brings valuable expertise in strategy, consulting, market intelligence, and business advisory within the metal and mining sector. Through her work with Questro, she has helped organizations understand evolving market dynamic and identify emerging opportunities across global commodity market. We are pleased to have her with us today, and moderating the session is this session today is Mr. Harsh Agrawal, who is the commercial head of Metal Buy. Metal Buy is a B2B e-commerce trade platform specifically focused on the ferroalloys market, and he has been extensively, procuring and dealing in the manganese ore commodity on behalf of Metal Buy. So he also has a hands-on experience of the domestic trading into the Indian market. So now I request Harsh, the stage is yours. Please take up this discussion ahead, and I'm sure it will be a good value addition and good, insightful discussion. Over to you, Harsh.
Thank you, Sitijji. Good afternoon, everyone, and a very warm welcome to today's panel discussion. First of all, I would like to express my sincere gratitude to WMMS for giving me this wonderful opportunity to moderate today's session and interact with such distinguished global industry leaders and subject matter experts. During today's discussion, we will explore what lies ahead for the ferroalloy industry and examine the opportunities and challenges that await producers, customers, and traders in the years ahead. We hope to gain valuable insights from our panelists that will help us better understand the direction of this evolving market. With that, let's begin our session. My first question to CSR is that the global manganese ore market has experienced significant volatility over the last few years. Looking ahead over next 12 to 8 months, how do you see the market evolving and what will be the biggest demand drivers? China, India, Southeast Asia, or any other emerging region?
Good afternoon, everybody. This is Gan Xia. My English name here, Summer. which was used in last many years. Where you see, in my view, the global manganese supply and demand was balanced. Most of the time it was balanced. So, but it was only when there was something happened. I mean, big things happened. I call it disaster affected market. So it's either be affected by the war or by the pandemic. At the time, the price jumped up, right? And or affected by, South 32, the birds and mine was flooded and not affected the market so much. And when there was a railroad collapse in Gabon, it was that stopped the manganese ore export only 40 to 45, 40 to 50 days, but made the world market of manganese ore more than doubled. So it is the market almost most of the time is balanced. So you can now see the market, the price jump up or drop off at that time, at most of the time. So that is about the market as I think. So we always worry about when there is something affect the market seriously. Okay. Well, as to the market demand or the supply, I think where this demand side, India for sure is the biggest engine because the steel growth rate was almost 7 to 10% last few years. And most possibly, the steel production is going to be 300 million tons at 2030. That was projected by government and by the many steel producers. So the demand in India will yes, rise up. China's demand for manganese, I believe, is reducing. Is reducing because the steel production, even though there's the steel export, plays a very important role for China's steel for maintaining the productivity. But the trend to have the lower production, and that is most industrial leaders the prediction. So China demand will be slowed down, will be lower than before. So that is where I only talk about China and India because that's my two main market.
Sir, I would like to know that you are saying gradually the demand of manganese ore in China will be reducing. So, will that create a scenario of oversupply for the global market because China is the highest consumer of manganese ore? And if demand reduces there, will there be oversupply for the rest of the world and the prices will reduce?
I don't think so. If you look at the world steel production, most of the years has some growth rate. Only a few years, like pandemic, or last year the war in Iran, and maybe we're in Venezuela. So that reduced a little bit production, but I think this year may catch up. So the demand in the world will keep growth rate a little bit 1 to 3% as the information says, and I believe that. China, we see in the last 5 years, China's steel output actually was reducing. But India catch up and Indonesia, so the Arabian countries catch up, and you see quite increment in in African countries. So I believe the steel production will keep a little bit of growth next years. So China's decrement of the steel production and the demand of manganese will not affect the supply demand or supply too much as the other market catch up.
Thank you for the update, sir. Mr. Sia, from your perspective, what are the biggest opportunities and challenges currently shaping the global manganese ore industry?
That might be we call it resources nationalism. Gabon government declared it's going to ban manganese ore export from January 1st, 2029. And the Ghana government said the same thing. They're going to ban the manganese ore export at 2030. So even though we don't trust that, we don't think they can really do so because that may not only affect the world market, but may significantly will reduce the revenue of the government of Gabon. As we see, the Gabon government revenue highly relies on the manganese export and the Ghana as well. So, but most people they are requesting every miners to build up furnaces, like to produce for silicon manganese or follow manganese or whatsoever, the manganese alloys or chemicals. But you see, the power consumption, power supply in Gabon is terrible. Even if we set up furnaces there, they will have a big shortage of electric power. They generate power by natural gas, but the natural gas supply is still not good enough. They don't have the coal. They don't have coke. So, but we have to do something. So it's not pretend to do something. We really are doing something. But even so, we believe possibly it's like Indonesia had done for the nickel ore. For the first years, they just force you to build up the for the processing facility like metallurgical facility. But sooner or later, they're going to say, oh, okay, if you produce silicon manganese with this quantity, you're going to export manganese ore in that quantity. That is highly possible. But even so, it will may affect world supply of manganese ore.
So, does that mean that this includes both like opportunity and challenges? The challenges have converted into
that
opportunity.
is the big challenge. That is the big challenge.
Okay.
Opportunities, I don't see too many opportunities, but we do see some fewer new mines step up. But it is not a big one, like the company, Australian company named Australia, who explored manganese ore in Timor-Leste. But so far, the predicted productivity might be 200,000 metric tons a year. That is not a big deal. As we know, South Africa, there was a China Baowu property of manganese ore. We saw that the reserves were good, but you see there is a restriction on the water supply and some indigenous resident problem. So after many years struggle, it has not started yet. So we have not seen too many supply opportunities over there. Maybe Ukraine will come back. Yes, no, yes, Trump and the people are saying that the war may end it soon. So that productivity may come back.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your inputs. Miss Christie, if we can have your views on this.
Sure. First of all, a very good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for having me on this panel today. I'm here to actually bring the Indian lens to this conversation as we go. So, first, talking about the opportunity. Um, if I had to name one single biggest opportunity sitting in front of Indian manganese ore industry right now, it is the growing sophistication with which Indian producers are learning to blend what we have domestically abundant, which is a medium to low grade of MN ore, and imported material of high grade ore from South Africa and Gabon. That blending discipline, when it is done genuinely, changes the economics at the entire processing operations, and we are seeing more producers take it seriously every year. And on the challenge front, the biggest challenge is the India's own appetite for manganese ore is growing faster than its ability to actually mine it domestically. Our latest numbers shows that domestic ore production barely grew by just 1%, while the tons we are importing is 4 times faster. This is not just a small gap. It is a gap that widens every year unless something structurally changes, whether that is more mines coming up or a serious push in the beneficiation that we have in ground. And as rightly mentioned at the global picture by Mr. Zia, that he has already gone deeper into, the story I would like to flag in the manganese ore supply worldwide is still concentrated in the small handful of countries, namely South Africa, Gabon, Australia, Brazil. That concentration matters enormously for a market like India, which depends heavily on the first two, which we have seen in the recent trends. So, yeah.
So I have one question to ask, Christy. So what we have been reading for a long time now, that India, obviously import most of its manganese ore from Gabon and South Africa. And what we understand, some kind of policy restriction is coming up in Gabon by 2028 or 29 or something during that time, wherein they'll not be able to export the raw material without processing to Indian market. And India, with such heavy reliance on those market, how do you see the dynamics changing in the next couple of years when the restriction or the policy will be implemented on ground?
So, a very nice question, Kshitij. Actually, we have seen a recent news coming up saying zero custom duties on the high grade manganese ore imports from Australia. So, the custom duty has been removed from the imports of Australia of high grade manganese ore. So, this was the recent development which we have seen in India. So, that itself, we are able to see that is actually gonna change the importing dynamics for India going forward. So yeah.
And same question is for Mr. Samahil as well. I think I'm sure with this thing coming up, China could also explore a much larger opportunity into the Indian market by supplying the required quantity or the gap which may come up in the next couple of years.
You mean the manganese alloys shipment from China?
Yes, manganese ore specifically.
Manganese ore. China does not export manganese ore. The total manganese ore, you see the demand is about 40 million tons. But the mining capacity was about only 2 to 3 million tons. China for sure is not going to ship any manganese ore to the world.
Thank you. Over to you, Harsh.
Yeah. So, Mr. Samar, China remains the world's largest consumer of manganese ore. How do you access the current demand from Chinese ferroalloy producers? And have you observed any structural changes in procurement strategies over recent years?
Yeah, that is the big question. I think yes, there are many changes. Take one for example, the high ferrous manganese ore. Last year, China imported a bigger quantity than before because China, let me see. You see, China uses the mini blast furnace to use the high ferrous manganese ore to separate the manganese from the iron, produce high rich manganese ore, which has manganese content 40%, and iron and pig iron. Okay, so by doing this way, China produces high quality, high content manganese ore, which has very low iron, right? So it is used in let me see, EMM production, not EMM production, it's the manganese metal production, high silicon manganese production, and so that made China consumes less high quality manganese ore. But from now, where let's see, government comes back to request them to shut down because of the high pollution, and it was not encouraged to do so. I cannot comment it is good or bad, but it is the fact that may reduce the high degree manganese or manganese mineral supply in China market. So at next stage, I guess I believe that the high grade manganese ore import to China may increase, and the high ferrous in South Africa manganese ore import to China will be reduced significantly. So that may affect world market supply.
Thanks, sir. Ms. Christie, the global supply continues to be concentrated in South Africa, Gabon, Australia, and Brazil. Do you anticipate any supply disruptions or capacity expansion over the few years?
Yes, a few of them have already been mentioned by Mr. Zia. But if we look at the global manganese ore as a whole, the four major countries do provide the market with a reasonable amount of natural balance. But if one origin has a difficult year, buyers elsewhere in the world can lean on the others. And historically, that is roughly what has happened in India. But India's eye specifically on these two South Africa and Gabon. And what I see, the South Africa and Gabon, which together account for roughly 2/3 of everything what we bring in. Australia and Brazil in the past, despite being significant global producer, barely registered in the India's ore sourcing mix. So at the global level, I don't see the ore markets fundamentally supply constrained. But at India level, our accessible ore supply is genuinely more fragile than global aggregate numbers would ever suggest. On the disruption risk specifically, I would like to flag two things, keeping a close eye on the Gabon. Gabon has gone through a periods of instability in the recent years, and that is not hypothetical. It has something that has actually happened and disrupted ore shipments before. And in South Africa, it's rarely the reserves in the ground that are constrained, but it's the rail lines and the ports getting out the ore out to the sea. Those bottlenecks have recurred often enough that I would call them a structural feature of sourcing ore from South Africa, not one of risk. On capacity expansion, the more visible projects tracked in Gabon and Australia, where growth is more by geology. For India, this is a mixed blessing. Gabon's expansion helps only if we maintain long-term contracts there, and Australia's expansions help India only if Indian buyers make the deliberate choice to redirect ore volumes that way. So candidly, that has not happened that meaningfully yet, but with the recent amendment, I think that would happen in the near future.
Thank you, Ms. Christie. Mr. Samar, how important do you think that logistics, freight cost, and port infrastructure are going to become in determining the manganese ore pricing and trade flows?
Yeah. You see, last several months, manganese ore price rise and now is getting down, highly relies on the transportation charges. The crude oil supply and the prediction about the crude oil supply net driven the ocean freight higher, much higher than before. We can say from $35 to $45 to $50, and now to $45 again, maybe $43, $42 again. So net drives the market up and down. FOB, let me see, the price possibility, it might not have too much changes, but ocean freight matters, especially for the material from Gabon, Ghana, and Brazil. South Africa is the distance to India is not too far. It may be affected less than the others.
Okay, will it have a similar effect in manganese alloys business as well? Because recently I have heard that the Indian exporters are facing challenges when it comes to logistics and container availability.
Oh yeah, net affect a lot. But I think it could be eased very soon. At the last several months, 4 months after the Iran war, it will shipping to Middle East almost be suspended completely, and to many other countries who have some problem. But net I believe it could be eased very soon if the war stops, and the demand from Gulf countries will rise immediately and significantly.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Christie, India's manganese ore self-sufficiency has improved from around 27% to near 40%. Yet imports continue to rise. Is India genuinely reducing its dependency on imports, or is this domestic production supply simply struggling to keep pace with the rapidly growing steel demand?
The improvement in the self-sufficiency is real. Moil and Smire, our two principal producers, have both been investing seriously in expanding the output. And Moil in particular runs its more aggressively exploratory drilling program in years just recently, more than doubling the meter drillings compared to the year before. But here is where I want to slow down, because the more recent numbers tell the story that quietly different from that improvement percentage narrative. In the most recent full year, the India's full domestic manganese ore production came to 3.85 million tons, and which barely grew from 3.8 million tons the year before, a rise of about 1%. Moil itself producing around 1.9 million tons of ore, which was 1.8 last year. And Smire added 0.6, I think, in the production. Generally, Smire has grown faster than the Moil, but the rest about remaining production numbers are from the other producers. But now when we see the imported story, India's manganese ore import rose from 6.57 million tons to 6.9, growth of about 5%, nearly 4 times the pace of our own domestic mining growth. When you actually run the arithmetic on self-sufficiency using, it comes out to somewhere around 36 to 37%. Yes, you're right, essentially. But in the recent years, we see it flat, and to be precise, very slightly lower than the recent years. So the story I would like the audience to understand is India is marching steadily towards self-reliance and all, but it needs a lot of improvement. And we are heavily relied on imports. I actually heard that exact tension voiced during a ferroalloy uh, session yesterday, in which the industry leader told that he put it very simply that no matter how much self-sufficiency India is gaining, but India's ore supply remains heavily dependent on two countries, and I think that's more honest way to describe where we stand today.
Ms. Christie, nearly 40 manganese ore blocks have been auctioned since 2021, but only a few have commenced production. How significant could these new mines become over the next 2 to 3 years for India?
This is genuinely a large number, but it is the number that tends to get quoted in headlines. But the reserves sitting in the ground and or actually reaching a furnace are two very different things. And the honest estimate for how much of that will actually enter the market over the current 2 year window is only somewhere between 1 and 1.5 million tons. Seeing the modest figures against the demand base, this is the growth at the mid to single digit, sometimes double digit pace every year. But why has commission lagged so far behind the pace of the auction themselves is the question. Honestly, this is not unique to just the manganese ore. It is the same story which we see in coal and iron ore blocks auction as well. Environmental clearance takes time, mining plan approvals take time, and building the whole infrastructure takes time. And the manganese blocks tend to be smaller and more scattered geographically than a larger coal block, which means individual site carries a heavier fixed cost burden related to ore output. So I think of these auction blocks as a stabilizer for India's ore supply over the rest of this decade, not that reserves are growing reliance on imports. If we generally want blocks to matter faster, the higher value intervention is not running more auction rounds. It is clearly the path for block we have already awarded through faster environmental approvals and stronger support for the land infrastructure that would only break through the real numbers coming ahead.
Okay, as per my understanding, India produces low grade to medium grade manganese ore, and dependency for high grade manganese ore is from imports only. Do you think there is a possibility that more exploration, beneficiation technology, and policy reforms will commercially develop higher grade manganese ore domestically?
As of today, what we see, there are no such developments happening. But MOIL's recent exploratory drilling program gives us a good view to say that it's actually doing better, with a real focus on hunting the high grade ore pockets, specifically in Maharashtra and Karnataka. This is meaningful, sustained investment, even though exploration by its nature is very slow, uncertain process. So genuinely don't know what ore we will find on the way. But as per our current understanding, there is no recent development which is being done to put beneficiation technology and more exploratory process for high grade manganese ore drilling. Right.
Okay, which producing states are likely to drive India's future manganese ore production? And where do the biggest logistics bottlenecks remain between mines and ferroalloy plants?
So the states which have the major manganese ore productions coming from are Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra, and Odisha, Andhra. So they account for around 95 to 97% of everything India mines. So top five states. Madhya Pradesh and Karnataka alone makes up to 40% between them. Madhya Pradesh is really the what do we say, a heartland of the industry. It is where the MOIL runs its flagship underground mines and happens to carry some of the country's comparatively better grade ore. Maharashtra, interestingly, is almost entirely a moil story on its own. Moil accounts for roughly 90% of the state's output, and Odisha ore, by contrast, is substantially a captive much of the feed directly into its integrated steel, like in Tata Steel, rather than reaching the open market. So looking ahead, we would see Maharashtra and Karnataka more closely, simply because Moil and Smire, and actively hunting for higher grade. Now on the logistics, when we come, because there the ore is mined and where it actually needs to end up are often far apart. Producers sit nearly to the coast, in Andhra Pradesh, close to Vizag, or in West Bengal near Haldia and Kolkata, enjoy a real structural advantage there, with plant to port or transportation costs running somewhere around uh, 12 to 1500 rupees a ton. When we move inland, at the same journey can cost closer uh, can cost around, more. And what I genuinely find encouraging through is now Chhattisgarh's producers have responded to that disadvantage rather than simply accepting it. Many have built their own captive power arrangements, then have them to 5 to 6,000 rupees a ton, more than enough to set up their own extra freight cost alongside their own in-house logistic capability. So if I yeah, so that's what I would like to say.
Thank you. Mr. Samar, which factors do you believe will have the greatest influence on manganese ore prices over the next 6 months or 1 year? And how closely do you expect ore prices will remain be linked with ferroalloy prices and global steel production?
We are in a short period of time, 6 months or 1 year, it relies highly on the end of the war in Iran. It looks like it's already ended, but you see it's still affecting the market. And the other war in Ukraine. You see the two countries has been significantly, well, especially Ukraine has been, let me see, damaged by the war. So, and European countries is willing to invest and rebuild the country of Ukraine. So the demand will after the war is like the post Second World War. The rebuilding construction may make the business booming. So it's all relies on the war ending in Ukraine, as I predict, and I believe net will of course net is not going to affect too much in the current next 6 months demand, but you see 1 year, 2 years, or 5 years demand may be much higher than today.
Okay. Okay. In my observation, I have seen that many times rising manganese ore prices does not reflect in manganese alloy prices and vice versa.
Oh,
Uh,
yeah.
So how do we understand that scenario as manufacturers, traders, and consumers?
Oh, yeah, that is a big question, and that affect everybody. Sometimes, I think most of the time, manganese alloys price were the mirror of the manganese ore price. Once the manganese ore price were all driven by the rise of manganese ore. It was not really driven by the demand, because the demand does not pick up too much. You see, every year steel production output may only increase 1 to 3%, and some year may reduce a little bit. I mean worldwide. So it has never been picked up by the demand itself. It almost relies on the manganese ore price. So sooner or later, I have not calculated yet, but I in my mind, the manganese alloys price rise are 3 months or 2 months later after the manganese ore price, or 1 month later after the manganese ore price rise.
Okay. Okay. So this question is very close to my heart, and I wanted to check with you what is your opinion on this. India
Okay.
currently relies largely on international benchmarks such as China Tianjin Index for manganese ore procurements. Do you believe India now needs its own manganese ore price index to improve transparency and price discovery? And what challenges would need to be overcome to establish one index?
Yes, of course, India need one. India need one. Where you see India is the second largest manganese ore importer in the world, and for the foreseeable future, the demand will be high, the supply, the low domestic supply, where just like Christy said, it will not have a big improvement, right? So the import from various countries. I believe India need independent index because you see, India is is a country who develops the steel production and the manganese alloys production very quickly, and in the meantime, China's product output is declining. So the China index may not reflect Indian price where, let me see, it may have some where you see where China price rise may bring the Indian price rise, but China price down may not bring the Indian price down. So I believe India need one, and we hope India will have one soon.
So extending this question, let's say that an indexing company like Big Mint or a digital platform like MetalsBuy wants to go ahead and do indexing. What are the major challenges that they will be facing, and what should be the roadmap to achieve a reasonable standard of index?
Yeah, index, you see, is index development is based on the trust. Where some indices, you see, failed. So we know the reason. We all know what had happened, right, earlier. Where it happened all the time. We 70 years, one full fail, and the other years one fail. So currently, as you know, we trust Big Mint. But does not mean, yes, India will only have one. China used to have several ones. India may have several ones. And then people may finally may select one or trust one. So yes, there are many others like Fast Market or CRU, or especially CRU has Indian alloys price. I think there is manganese ore price as well. So, but you see, people may rely more on the India local indices.
And
Thanks for
sir,
your input, sir.
I think, sir, you can only establish more credibility for your index once you are able to cover 60 or 70% of the market into that particular commodity. Once you have that sort of a coverage, I think as a manufacturer or as a user of any indexes, what do you think? Will that remain a major criteria for you to select a company that you can trust upon as an indexing company?
Yes. You see, we're not talking about the one index to combine the China market and Indian market. I feel more about India will have the independent index price for Indian market.
Okay, thank you, sir. Ms. Christie, considering the quality profile of Indian manganese ore, do you see opportunities for Indian miners to participate more actively in export markets? And which international markets offer the greatest potential?
So, first of all, when we hear this question, we think India is majorly importing of M and ore. So, why export? But when we look closely at what actually happened at the export numbers over the past, the story is more layered, and that my first instinct suggested. India's manganese ore imports jumped from 13,000 tons to roughly 180,000 tons in a single year, genuine dramatic 14-fold increase. When we look at the grades that are actually leaving the country, that's nearly three quarters of it are low grade material in the 10 to 30% Mn content range. Exactly the kind of ore that Indian furnaces generally do not want in the first place. So most of this export growth is not taking out of their own table, so to speak. It is finding a genuine external market for surplus low grade ore that would otherwise simply sit unused domestically. So I would call that smart, sensible use of ore resource we have in relative abundance, not contradiction of our import story. As of which markets hold the most potential for India's low grade ore specifically, I would point to the buyers in Southeast Asia, Middle East, who run smaller scale furnace or sintering operations and are often looking for exactly the kind of blending grade or at a competitive price rather than premium high grade or material that South Africa and Gabon are better positioned to supply. So it is a narrower opportunity that some might hope for, but it is real one. So grounded in what our actual ore allows us to offer.
Thank you. Mr. Summer, digital trading platforms are gradually transforming commodity markets. How do you see technology changing the manganese ore business over the next decade? And what capabilities will distinguish successful trading companies in the future?
We are in the alloys producing industry, the technology has not been improved too much as we know, last 100 years or 50 years. Everybody are using the old technology or matured technology. The only thing is how do you use it? As my understanding, I fear you see just we talked about now, where Christy talked about manganese export from India. There are some manganese import from India, but it is all about fines. The reason might be very clear that the fine has not been used in India very well. You see the manganese ore fines need to be centered and then used, but India does not have too many center facilities. That might be the reason there are some manganese ore fines export that actually they used to export to China, but not now. I think that export to Indonesia for the electrolytic manganese flake production by Chinshan Steel, right? So that is the only I believe that is the only export.
Right.
And you see, it's not high technology. China will purchased and matched a lot of South Africa high ferrous manganese, and that helped China to produce ferroalloys economically. That is actually old technology. It is used mini blast furnace, which China government thinks that is not good, so they want to destroy it. They destroyed it actually several times, but once destroyed, but the market need it. So once it's destroyed, it came back in another way, and then destroyed, and then come back in another way, right? But I think India, I have no idea why India does not where you use mini blast furnace to use high ferrous manganese ore. If you can use this more efficiently, it might be good for the alloys industry.
Thank you. Thank you for your input, sir. So this brings me to the last segment of my session. I would like to ask both panelists. I will firstly go ahead with Christy ma'am. Looking ahead over the next 5 years, what do you consider to be the single biggest opportunity and the greatest challenges for the manganese ore industry?
Thank you, Harshji. I've already answered that, but to conclude, I would like to say India's position in the global manganese ore market 5 years from now will not be decided by how many tons of new tons we manage to pull out of the soil. It will be decided on how intelligently we source, blend, and deploy the ore we have to access, domestic and imported alike. So, yeah, that's what I would like to say.
Your views, Mr. Sama.
You see the manganese demand side. I fear that with metallurgy, you see the manganese alloys production in India grows fast. But I didn't see fast growth rate of chemical manganese, like manganese dioxide, manganese sulfate, which is used for battery and for fertilizer, right? I didn't see fast growth rate, but I believe it will have the faster track at next years.
Thank you for your input, sir. One last question to you, very personal from my side. Having built having built international trading business over the years, what advice would you offer to the next generation of professionals aspiring to build successful career in the global metal and mining industry?
Oh, that is big question. That is very big question. Well, as my experience, you see, the industry you see, to add some value. Trading house or many trading houses failed or struggled only because is traded too many products. In today's market, the customer needs you to focus on one product to understand the industry more than the other people, so you may get your market share. If you will financially grow up, you may invest in the supply side, like the ore or the alloys production. I mean, particular ones. The minerals is needed. I recently I taught in Frankfurt about how 5% effect. If you have limited money, you may only invest 5% in a mineral process or mine. So you get the exclusive facility sales in a particular market. That may help you grow up.
Thank you for your input, sir. I will keep that in mind. That's it from my side. I would like to hand it over to Sitiji.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, we'll talk later.
Thank you, Harsh.
Yes.
So there are a couple of interesting questions which we have received from the audience. We'll just take up two questions and a quick answer to those questions before we wrap up. So the first question that we have, and I would also like you, Harji, to take up a role of a panelist now. So there's a very interesting question. If you had to challenge one widely accepted belief about the global manganese ore market, something that almost everyone in the industry believe, but you think is fundamentally wrong, what would it be and why?
Please come again. I could not get your question.
Okay, so I would want all of you to answer, according to you. So the question is, if you had to challenge one widely accepted belief about the global manganese ore market, something that almost everyone in the industry believe, but you think is fundamentally wrong, what would it be and why? We can start with, Ms. Ahil Sama. We can start with you first.
Actually, I was interrupted by one who. Okay, so can you say the question again?
So the question is, one of our audience attendees is asking, if you had to challenge one widely accepted belief about the global magnesium market, something that almost everyone in the industry believe, but you think is fundamentally wrong. What would it be and why?
Oh, yes, you see, of course, in the manganese alloys industry, we can say some factories already secured materials on a long-term basis, but many of them have not. It's just purchase as needed. The problem for those who has not secured long term have the problem either have a shortage when the market is good. They don't have the material to produce the correct product, right? So yes, if I have a suggestion, I can advise something. Long-term procurement may be good for most of the producers.
Okay. So second question is related to this only, but yes, like you said, the long-term procurement is one of the strategy which is good, and industry believe differently right now because of the price volatility. The next question is, looking ahead, what do you believe will be the true source of competitive advantage in the magnesium business? Ownership of resources, control over logistics, superior market intelligence, long-term partnership, or the ability to predict demand?
Yeah. Well, I believe the long-term relationship or dual resources will be necessary. You can now, as you in today's market, you can 100% rely on one resources or one source. Rely on one country, maybe or one resource may not be good enough because you see, any day, the nationalism may do something which may hurt you. So yes, we have two resources. Yes, we will be good.
Same from both of you, Harji and Christy, if you can comment quickly on this.
I would like to address your previous question. See, manganese ore and manganese alloys both are international products. For the Indian producers whose core business is not ferroalloys, they lack the quality of information that is needed to take the right decision. What currently they are doing is they are making need-based decisions rather than strategic decisions. In manganese ore and in manganese alloys, procurements and sales needs to be understood and executed uh, from the view of a, let's say, 3 months plan or a 6 months plan. But because many producers are not having manganese business as a core activity, the information available to them is very limited, and there is definitely a scope for any platform or any indexing agency to provide the maximum international news to these people that will benefit them a lot.
Okay. Christy, would you like to comment before we conclude?
So on the second question which you mentioned, so I completely agree with Mr. Zia that long-term partnership or sourcing from having secured sourcing should be the first priority for anyone, because we can't rely on just one source. If it gets disrupted, then we won't have a backup. So having multiple channels of sourcing would be the priority for anyone.
Okay, so that brings us to the end of the session. Would personally like to thank Mr. Hill Summer for joining us despite his busy and hectic travel schedule. We understand that you have been traveling extensively and managing a time from a different time zone, changing a time zone constantly. It's a lot difficult, and we really appreciate you giving us a dedicated time and taking all the question very patiently. Thank you for joining us. To Christy again, thanks a lot for joining us and being very supportive. Questro has been our partner, and we're glad to have you on board. Harji, again, thanks a lot for moderating this session so well. You've been able to blend some personal question as well as, most of the question were related to the market, which was very good, and keeping everything engaging is really great. With that, we would like to conclude this session. Thank you everyone for joining us for this session. And for the attendees, the next session will begin at 3 o'clock. It will be on the steel e-commerce, and it's an interesting topic that we've been hearing for past 3 days. People have been talking about the digitalization in the steel sector, and we'll have three of the leading B2B e-commerce company joining us. The founders of those three companies will be joining us in that session at 3. We'll have Mr. Naman Shah from Now Purchase. We'll have Mr. Nitin Jain joining us, who is an ex-co-founder of Business and now is a strategic advisor to Metals Buy. He'll be joining us. That Off Business has been able to achieve a lot of things in past 3 or 4 years. Then we'll again have Mr. Vedant Goel, who is the director of Enlight Metal. He'll be joining us in that session. So apart from that, all of you, from the delegate point of view, can also interact with the virtual booth that we have on the application. If you go to the application as well as on the website, there's if you go to the menu, there is an option to visit the exhibition booth. You can visit those exhibition booth and can connect live with all the exhibitors that are exhibiting in that exhibition. With that, we'll take a break for lunch. Thank you everyone for joining us for this insightful session. Thank you, Mr. Shia. Thank you, Christian. Thank you, Harji, for an insightful discussion.
Thank you all for the
Thank you.
opportunity. I appreciate.
Have a great day, sir.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Good day. Bye-bye. Thank you.